Hey everybody, welcome back to the old studio, at least for now, and a couple of videos maybe, we'll see. But I want to make sure we got something out there today, and I had several stories that just popped in my lap over the last, few days, and in particular this morning. It seems that the hostage video that Will Smith did a few days ago did not land very well. In fact, a lot of people in crisis PR, well, they have got a lot to say about it. In fact, one of the best things coming out of this is something from, Variety and their VIP platform. Let's take a look at a couple of these stories. Here we go. So apparently there are a lot of lessons to learn from this, this video, right? This nearly 6-minute video that was put together. And it starts off in a very awkward way. And there's a lot of, problems with that. First of all, it felt incredibly disingenuous and even disconnected, at least in my opinion. But I'm not the only one who felt that way. Likely you are too if you watched the video. At least you felt that way as well. And like I said, the industry's calling this out. So let's take a look at this story real quick. Coming to us once again from Variety. And we'll look at two pieces and kind of pull them together as we go through this. Okay, so as we see here, the article starts off being, fairly critical of everything that's obviously happened with Mr. Smith. You see, this first paragraph says it all. There's no gun seen pointed at his head in the apology Will Smith released on YouTube last week, but there might as well have been one off screen considering the production comes across as a forced hostage video. And that's exactly what I think we all saw. Don't get me wrong, there was nothing offensive about what Smith said in his 5-minute 44-second monologue, and the Oscar-winning actor deserves credit for saying anything at all considering his silence was starting to get conspicuous. I don't think we can argue that. Where Smith's error lies is not in where it's only natural to focus the substance of his remarks, which makes sense, but in the style with which he delivers those remarks. That's right. The cardinal sin Smith commits here is quite evident before he's uttered a single word. What's most striking about the beginning of the video is that it's his decision to not have Smith verbally begin the video himself, instead of opening with an image that displays the following text, which we've all read. It says, "It's been a minute. Over the last few months, I've been doing a lot of thinking and personal work. You asked a lot of questions, and I wanted to take some time to answer." Those are his words. Well, there's a simple question Smith doesn't answer. Wouldn't it have been more effective if he actually spoke those words on camera rather than dispensing with any kind of opening remarks and just launching into an answer that was abruptly by replying to the introductory text instead of speaking the words? It's almost as if Smith can't bring himself to eat some humble pie. That's their sentence, not mine, but I agree with it. So some PR wordsmith that crafted that thing ahead of time, well, they were the ones that basically crafted the intro. But it got off on the wrong foot, they say here, and it felt like the let's get this over with kind of vibe. This is exactly the kind of vibe that an apology should not begin with. It's also structured, as they call out here, in a very odd format. That's the terms they use, and it seems like they cherry picked a selection of questions from unnamed, inquisitors. And that's true too. So it's obviously a way of pushing forward a distinct set of talking points, which, believe me, we're seeing this a lot in all different areas, and it's not landing well. It's like we've stepped backwards with PR and PR management over the last few years. Essentially talking down to the audience and not expecting anything from them in any way, which is exactly the opposite thing that you want to do when you're talking to people. But we'll keep going here. And then this is where I think everybody's going to have that that disconnect is in his first answer that he starts abruptly, which is that there's this oddly stilted manner in which Smith reads aloud the first question. Why didn't you apologize to Chris Rock in your acceptance speech? And he says that, if he's, according to them, as if he's unfamiliar with the English language. Like I said, that was the least of the problems, but it didn't help. And it comes right after a wall of text, we would call it, that essentially makes it so he doesn't have to actually go through anything that represents contrition. And that's, again, not the only thing that was, highlighted here. Variety wrote another article, same day, releases it at the same time, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, that is. And it says an open question hovers unanswered over the latest Will Smith apology that he issued last week. Why now all of a sudden out of months of silence? Let's give credit where credit is due. At least the actor's trying to demonstrate that he's on the road to repentance. Well, I would argue with that, but that's fine. For too long after the Oscars, it seems like no more would be said. There's probably a reason why he did it the way he did. In why he kind of started out with Chris Rock makes a lot of sense, because obviously that's the person who was, the harmed party here. But there's a lot going on in his life as far as productions that have basically all been put on hold, with the exception of Emancipation, which has been moved back to 2023. It's in post-production, so it's done. We'll have to see where this falls, but there is a slate of projects that he is involved with, especially on Netflix. Fast and Loose, that's a Netflix production. Bright 2, Netflix. The Council, also Netflix. The Apple thing, we just talked about, Emancipation. And Pole to Pole, which is a Nat Geo production that I believe he was working with Disney. That was highly touted and advertised by them, if I'm remembering correctly. So there's a lot of bad things in the background that he's trying to artificially hold up, or at least preserve, which is all those projects. On top of the fact that he has a production company that he owes some attention, that he's sought a lot of outside money to support, so he needs to regain his reputation so people want to work with him and his company, or companies, depending on how you want to look at that. But he made a lot of mistakes in this particular presentation of PR recovery, right? This is crisis PR at its worst, to be honest with you. This is the kind of thing that should have come out like 3 or 4 days later, only, again, without this wall of text to introduce the conversation. And he's an actor. He should have done a much better job of delivering his line, or even repeating the question of, why didn't you apologize to Chris Rock in your acceptance speech? All of that stuff is bananas. So, he goes about, he talks about halfway through, and I'm gonna read the quote from Smith in the video. He says, I spent the last three months replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened in that moment, and I'm not going to try to unpack all that right now. Okay, why bring it up then? You can say, I've spent the last several months replaying this in my mind, and it led me to this moment, and I may have more to say in the future. That probably would have been the right way to go about it if I were going to craft that statement. But look, here it says, and they call this out, by the way, in the very next paragraph. They say, okay, so if he's not going to unpack that now, when does that happen? Perhaps this video is meant to be a prelude to hearing yet even more from Smith, perhaps in a venue where he won't seem as controlled, such as an Oprah Winfrey interview, or on his wife Jada Pinkett Smith's Red Table Talk. I don't think I would do anything with her ever again. If I'm Will Smith, I would try to avoid that, because it's only going to bring back all of the specters of what happened and all of the things that were surrounding it. I think you stay miles away from Jada when it comes to talking publicly about this stuff. I think you go and do a mea culpa, whether it be with Oprah or whoever, but that's still going to feel rather controlled, because he's got friends at every corner, and it's going to be very difficult for anybody to ask him any difficult questions. Like I said, they go on to call this out, and I'm going to say it similarly, but they say he hasn't completely cleared the air yet, but perhaps that's still to come. It shouldn't be that way. he should have just cleared the air, and it worked very, very hard to get Chris Rock to at least, say thank you for the apology, at the very least. The fact that Chris Rock doesn't even want to hear from him speaks volumes. And consider this, that Bad Boys film, that thing got put in park. So there's a lot here that is resting on Hollywood accepting him. But anyway, just wanted to dive into that today real quick. We got a lot of great videos set for the rest of the week. Again, old studio, but hopefully it's temporary and we get Grant back editing here shortly. With that being said, support other independent creators here on the platform. They absolutely could use your help. Of course, I can always use your help, but independent creators are often passed over because they are not promoted in the algorithm. So let's help that out. Let's help each other out. Make sure that we share the content from the creators that we enjoy. Make sure we make comments and increase engagement on their channel for their videos. And of course, if you like them, subscribe and support them, and that always helps. So with that being said, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.